Hi everyone, Cody'sLab here. Welcome back to my lab. So as you can see, my potato crop is doing quite well. They've grown up quite a large amount. The ones over here that were planted a few weeks earlier have already got flowers on them, and some of them actually have fruit. You see right down here are the potato berries. See, they're very similar to tomatoes because, you know, potatoes and tomatoes are both in the Nightshade family. And apparently these are fairly rare. They need a specific set of circumstances to actually form the fruit. First of all, cross-pollination, which I've got because I've got about 6 different varieties of potato planted here. But also large amounts of fertilizer in the soil, which, since the soil, especially for these ones over here, is about half rabbit droppings, that makes sense. I definitely want to try actually growing the seeds that these produce. That'll be interesting to see what the mutt potatoes are like. You know, the 6 different varieties blending together. It'd be interesting to see what kind of potatoes I wind up with. If you look right here between these 2 rows of potatoes, you can see I've put some more rabbit droppings, and I've got a hill of dirt here. And I think it's about time that I take this hill of dirt and kind of dig at it a little bit. I can't go too deep, otherwise I might hit some of the roots of the plants. Then I'm going to take this material and kind of shove it up against the sides of the potato plants. There's some debate as to whether or not this will allow me to produce more potatoes or not. One thing it definitely does is allows me to kill all the weeds and stuff that are growing between them. See, just like that. And I can just push this dirt up against here. And the theory is that the potato plants will grow more potatoes as they produce roots out from the stems. Well, there you go. It's not a lot of burying of the stems. In fact, I probably should have made the rows a little bit farther apart so I could dig more dirt, but there you go. It's better than what I had last year. So this flower pot here, as you can see, I started with it only about half full of dirt, and I put the potatoes in there. And as you can see, I've since filled the rest of the space up with some sawdust mixed with rabbit droppings. And as you can see, if I dig down a little bit, I can actually see some potatoes forming all the way up here at the top of the soil. See right there? That's an earwig. Kill that. So they do definitely grow up into the new soil. You also notice that these potatoes don't have any flowers on them, even though they're the same age as the ones down there. It's because they've been putting more energy into producing the tubers. Let me give you a quick update on the plants. You can see that they are coming back. They're recovering from the earwig infestation. Looks like there's quite a few new leaves that have no insect damage, which is good. Some of the plants, like these that you see here, they are no longer growing. The growth part was eaten right off, and they're completely useless anymore. You can see the leaves on the strawberries are still yellow. I think that yellowing was mostly due to the stuff that I sprayed on them, the neem oil or perhaps even the soap. But most of the plants are recovering and starting to turn back to green. Like you can see, this pepper here, the top of it is now green again. And as well as all the tomatoes, those are turned back to green. Speaking of tomatoes, you might notice that they've, well, first of all, grown quite a bit. And I've got them training up into this trellis thing that I've built. You can see this. I just put some T-poles in the ground and stretched some baling twine between them, and hopefully the tomatoes can grow up and I can kind of train them up through that. And yes, I can get in past these. These tomatoes hopefully will be growing up over that way, and I can get behind them here, just like this. Let's have a quick peek inside these beehives, shall we? Just pull this top off. Let's see how they're doing. Actually stuff built on this frame right there. Look at that. I think they're just about to the point where they're filling this flower pot. Let's pull this over here. Let's see just how much room we've got left in the bottom of the hive. Let's lift this out of there. Yeah, look at that. Looks like they're mostly storing honey. Oh, I see why they're so aggressive. they don't have a laying queen right now. You can see right here, there's a queen cell. Now it's coming out of the side of the frame, so this isn't a swarm queen cell. But this tells me that their original queen has died, and they're trying to replace her. You can see that all the cells around it are full of honey or nectar. It's because the queen hasn't been laying eggs in a while. Now this really isn't a problem. I mean, they probably can replace the queen fairly easily. They've got plenty of drones in the area for her to mate with, so it'll probably be okay. I might just replace her with a queen that's bought from a supplier, just so that I know that she's already bred and to give them a 2-week head start. But yeah, this sometimes does happen with packaged bees, as the queen was of an inferior quality to begin with. But yeah, she got the hive started. And this hive is doing pretty well, so a hit like that isn't really that big of a deal. You can see this flower pot's almost about 2/3 full now. You can kind of look down in there and you can kind of see how much room they've got left. Only about 1/3 of the pot is remaining, which is really plenty of space. Out of my nose. Which is really plenty of space for them. Kind of made a traffic jam there, didn't I? Periods of broodlessness is actually good for a hive in some cases, especially with the varroa mites. The varroa mites parasites that live off of the young bees. And if there's no young bees in the hive, then the varroa mites kind of die out for a while. Now let's have a look at this other hive here. They actually built up to the point where there's no room for the camera anymore, so unfortunately I haven't been recording for a while. Look at that. They've got 8 out of 10 frames built onto now. They've started building comb again. It looks like they've more or less got them lined up. Come out and sting me. Yeah. See that? Got a little bit of broken comb there. That's not too bad. All I gotta do is just sort of push it back. I think I want to spend the rest of the day working on this over here. I mean, those flowers are pretty, but they're not producing any food. And this bush, well, it's just ugly, and it needs to go. I don't want to fully kill it this time. I want to try to save it. So let's see if that works out. I think the first thing I'm going to do is go through and prune it back quite a lot. Take away probably 70% of its branches, just to reduce its bulk. Also, there appears to be another nightshade plant growing up through this bush here. I don't think this is the deadly nightshade, but I imagine the berries are probably mildly poisonous. If anyone knows what this is, feel free to let me know, because it is growing all over the yard basically. I'd really like to know if it was edible or not. You know, should I save these berries? So coming in underneath of this bush here, you can see that is the center of the tree. You know, that looks like where it's coming out of the ground, but on closer inspection, this is actually where it's like laid over and is like come and fell onto the ground. The actual part where it comes out of the ground is over there. In fact, way over there. I'm trying to see if there's any leaves and stuff up there. Maybe I can just cut this whole top off and start with the base part. Alright, well, I'll get to work on that. Alright, so I've successfully pulled up the tree. You can see all that nightshade stuff is still over there. So here's the tree. It's got a little bit of roots, just a few branches with some needles still on them. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to plant it inside this pot over here. So as you can see, I've drilled some holes in the bottom of this pot, right there. And I've added some gravel to aid in drainage and also add a little bit of weight to it. To help it grow some roots, I'm going to add a little bit of rooting powder to all the areas that will still grow roots. And I'm just going to be using a potting mix for the soil that it's going to be growing in. Alright, so not the world's best potting job, but it does give the tree some semblance of a chance. I think I'm just going to put it over here by the corner of the garage for now, or it'll get a little bit of sunlight. With any luck, it'll actually take off and start growing, and eventually I'll be able to transplant it somewhere else. Alright, so that bush is finally gone. I've been wanting to do this for a while. As you can tell, it's after dark. I've got a light out and people are setting off their fireworks. You see over there. Yeah, that's what happens when you're this close to the 4th of July. So I'm going to get the sugar beets in tonight since I'm up anyway. And yeah, I'm just going to put them in these little rows and let's see if they'll grow. Now it is a bit late in the year to be planting things like this, but sugar beets, they're kind of cool because it really doesn't matter when you plant them. You know, the later you plant them, just the smaller they'll be. And also you can let them go all throughout the winter if you have to. So this will be just fine. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is go along the tops of these rows here. I'm going to add some of these water crystals. This will help get the seeds to start. I had an extra bag of them, so I figured I may as well. So now I'm going to just add in these seeds. Just put them about an inch or so apart. Alright, there we go. Got all the sugar beets planted. The fireworks are dying down. It looks like I need to repair some concrete on the stairs. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time.